Hello, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of SW Golf Academy. Today, how to stay down and compress the golf ball like the pros. Subject certainly you'd like to be good at. We'll have a look at that, one of my favorite ever drills in this video, that probably one you haven't seen. And also, what are the determining factors that allow you to get in a position to do this? We'll start with that. Well, steepness is, to me, the number one killer. When the club, instead of being on its plane, is above it, too vertical, you're going to crash into the ground and swing to the left if you don't do something about it. And almost always golfers straighten up a little bit to create space. Sometimes you'll see them pull their arms in a little bit through impact. That certainly isn't a recipe for good ball striking. So if you can get the club on a good plane, it's much more of a shallow brushing hit, facilitates staying in there. Let me show you two of the greatest all-time players, how they did this a little bit differently, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Ben Hogan on the left there, Tom Watson on the right. Clearly two of the all-time greats. Watch Hogan, he was certainly a flat swinger, left arm well across chest. Watson just the opposite, quite a lot of arm raise and significantly across the line. Now, if you look at Watson very early in the downswing, I mean, that club's actually pointed behind it, which is pretty unusual for a great player. Ben Hogan, as he starts down, just in a classic position, possibly even a bit more on the flat side. Now, most people from where Watson is, they don't have his ability. They'd really get steep on it and straighten up. He has the wherewithal to drop it in a bit and kind of raise his hands and wrists a bit as he hits it there. You see Hogan's hands look a lot lower, and you can really see how he can stay down and compress the ball. Again, Watson, obviously 8-time major champion, can manage this, but you'll see his face push a little bit up away from the ball and his wrists push up in the air a bit. So he can handle it. He can handle a bit of steepness. For most of us, though, we really want to be on a pretty good shallow plane in the downswing, especially early in the downswing. So just briefly here, we'll touch on this. It's not the main thrust of this video. We're going to get to that drill to help you stay down here in just a moment. But just to touch on it, once you're in a good backswing position, we're going to have to assume that you need to get the club coming down. You need to get your hands working down, not use your chest so much and get the thing working out to the golf ball. So I always like the skip a rock analogy. You want to feel dynamic, but you want to get that thing down before it comes forward. And if you do that, you can really stay in the shot. So again, check out some of the videos maybe at this channel on getting in the slot. I think they'll be helpful for, but the mental picture, I'm trying to hit the ball from the side of the body, not from in front of the body. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, another one, and this often is related to the previous one, another one that causes people to straighten up, lose that ability to compress the ball, releasing the wrist too early or widening the circumference of the swing too much. Once the club head's way out there in space, you're almost certainly, your circle is too wide. You're almost certainly going to hit the ground behind the ball, so your body fights that, your subconscious, you stand up, etc., etc. So very, very important that not only is it coming from the side of your body, but there's enough lag here. The club's close enough to you. Remember, in golf geometry, if this trail wrist, this right wrist for me, is bent, the club will never reach the ground unless I dive at it. So the longer you can keep that bent there, the more it facilitates you staying over it. Now, we've got videos on lag here at the SW Golf channel, several of them that have had good comments, so you might check one of those out. But just bear that in mind. If I can get the circumference of the swing narrow, I've greatly improved my ability to stay over the shot. Okay, so here's the drill. Grab a short iron. I like an 8-iron. That's my favorite choice. And choke down, maybe trail hand even on the metal slightly there. So if this would be my normal stance, I'm choked down to there. That's a little overdone. I'll choke down to the bottom of the grip. The club now is, well, that far above the ground. It's a bit disconcerting. And the idea is to make a small punchy swing and get down there where you can compress the ball from here. So there it is up there. That wasn't too bad. Let's try it again. Maybe start with a few practice swings to begin with this. So here's my normal setup. There's my big choke down. Get the feel for this. That's the idea. I'm starting to feel that a little bit there now. You can do this in between shots a little bit on the golf course. Just choke down and just make some soft swings, feeling what it is to get down there. Let's have a look from this view, then we'll get into some of the details to help you polish this. Okay, let's try one from here. If you like this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe hit the bell there if you do, so you get notified every time we're bringing you more free content. Appreciate the support there. So there's my stance. There's my bottom of the grip. Again, this is a little bit disconcerting to begin with. It just feels like there's no way I can hit the ball, but I'm going to get down there and make a go at it. Like so. It's actually a pretty good shot. Might try that in real life sometimes there. Okay, a couple of thoughts for you here as we start to polish this. We'll look from this angle and then that angle regards balance as you do this. Now, number one, always remember staying down when they measure in 3D motion capture where your body is, how much down it's pointed versus how much up is important, a moving measurement. People tend to think only in terms of the ball as staying down. Down is always relative to where your torso is pointed. So as you're going through, you're going to feel like if a laser light was sticking out of your chest, it will make a low circle on the turf versus pointing up in the air like that. So stay in motion when you try to stay down. And remember as well, as you come down, let me choke down, your trail arm should be straightening and pushing forward this way. And as that happens, it should actually be causing bend in the right wrist. Again, like skipping the rock analogy. So I'm feeling that, and I'm feeling that as I stay down, I stay in motion through the shot. Okay, let's have a look at here for some pretty critical balance issues. So finally, as you work on this, a couple of pitfalls I see people get into. They get, in other words, you work on trying to stay over the ball a little more and compress it that way. They get stuck. They lose their movement. They get so intent on staying down. So when you work on this sometimes, make a few continuous back and through swings like this without the ball and just increase your spine angle a bit as you go. Slowly lowering it. If you like, if I had the image, if I had a towel in my hand, I had a bench there I had to wipe off, just that feeling, and you'll start to maintain it better because it's in sync with some flow of the golf club, not just trying to stay down. The other thing is, you've got two ends of the spine, obviously, down at the tailbone and up at the neck bone up there. You've got to stay in balance as you do this, so too much of that and off balance or too much trying to stay back is bad. Picture the image of wiping the bench again. I'm increasing both angles, but I feel enough of these to stay in balance and be able to continue to move not only the club, but my chest, as we talked about, make a lot of little swings like that. I mean, that's a little more bent over than I'd want to be, but that sort of a feel. You start getting this in no time. Quite final word of caution, when you're hitting a driver, for instance, you don't want to do this quite as much. Not saying it's non-dynamic, but you're trying to swing a little bit more up. You'd see the great players with their body a little bit more back, not quite covering the ball so much. Hope this helps you.